CNN Justice correspondent Pamela Brown's here with some breaking news. Pam, intelligence agencies are working right now to see what they knew about these two individuals. What are they learning?
Well, we're actually learning that these two individuals had been on U.S. radar for years, Jake. In fact, they were in the database, TIE database, which is a database of suspected and known international terrorists, and they were on the U.S. no-fly list for years. So right now there is an evaluation process taking place, and sources say so far there haven't been any connections found between the Paris suspects and high-level targets living in the U.S. But of course, the big concern that is top of mind among law enforcement officials here at home is that what happened in Paris could happen here.
Following back-to-back attacks in Paris, the FBI, DHS, and intelligence agencies in the U.S. are scrubbing their databases and evaluating high-priority targets living in the country.
The U.S. officials are going to be searching for any connection between these Charlie Hebdo attackers and Americans, any sort of secondary or tertiary connections between them.
The high-priority targets include Americans who are believed to have returned to the U.S. after fighting in Syria. Sources tell CNN out of the dozens of Americans who have returned from Syria, a percentage of those are believed to have fought with terrorists. U.S. law enforcement and intelligence officials are evaluating what kind of impact the Paris attack may have on those individuals in the U.S. and whether they should take any action against these targets by contacting them directly, a move that would disrupt intelligence gathering but potentially stop an attack on U.S. soil.
Since 9/11, there's been a shift in the U.S. policing paradigm to much more of a preemptive paradigm. They're not just trying to arrest people after crimes have been committed, but they're looking to prevent attacks. And part of that is looking at possible connections, possible dangers when something like this occurs.
U.S. officials tell CNN the Paris attacks highlight the multifaceted terrorism threat facing the U.S., from highly coordinated attacks to lone wolf attacks, driven in some measure by terrorist groups.
Al-Qaeda and the Islamic State have both been trying for some time to encourage lone wolves to strike, while at the same time aiming for larger scale attacks, because lone wolves keep law enforcement on their feet, they waste resources of the enemy, they keep the enemy scared, they keep you in the headlines, while at the same time you can prepare to do something larger.
Tonight, cities like New York City are stepping up security out of concern for copycat attacks.
Well, it reminds us that the terrorist threat is still very real for this country as well as for other Western nations.
And U.S. law enforcement officials say so far there's no new intelligence indicating active plotting in the U.S., but authorities are still waiting for more information on the subjects in Paris before really knowing anything definitive. And Jake, that probably won't happen until they're in custody. Still very fluid and dynamic situation there.